Hey, everybody. This is me and Chris. George isn't with us today. He had to do something else. So he's not very committed, is he? So Joe. And for the last few times we've had with Chris, we've been looking at some of his games, which I find taxing, to say the least. And I felt kind of like, man, I'm kind of exhausted looking at those things. Can we just do a simple him against CrazyStone 6-done? Now that sounds funny. How can that be simple? But he makes it look so simple. He doesn't do anything. He just puts obvious moves down. So for me, that's easier. And hopefully for you guys, that's a little easier to intake. Okay, I think we're ready. He's about to play his move. I transfer it to CrazyStone. And then I transfer CrazyStone's move onto KGS. Sometimes I get confused, but I will work it out nonetheless. Pretty regular stuff.
Yeah, this is an opening I've been trying out a little bit more lately.
Yeah.
I don't typically play double star. I don't think I've played double star really since 2015.
Yeah. Just one small thing for viewers. This is such a modern move. But when he's singing his, if I could read Chris's mind, when he's singing his 2 4/4s, all of a sudden this fits on a global scale so well. It's like, well, why not? It's not necessary. I could play 3/3, but
Right.
this kind of fits.
Yeah, it's like style choice almost.
Yeah. And then inside. Now, again, to read his mind a little bit, which I love doing. So he gives us one move here where he likes to have a Blackstone. And what's this playing away deal? So again, I'm reading his mind. And he's thinking, the only trouble is white can pinch me. Yeah, but I'll just do my thing in my area. And I'm not having a problem here.
Yeah, the left is my advantage, not white's.
Right. Black's the one getting the profit in the local fight. So it's in that, again, it would be really different if it wasn't a 4/4. It's a different experience all of a sudden. Yeah. So he's working with that. And this comes down to here, and white plays there.
All right. I just need the control back to
sorry about that. Thank you.
No worries. There we go.
Oh, I worry. I do. I have so many hang-ups, Chris, you would not believe it. If you got in my head, you go, man, he's sick. Yeah, a lot of hang-ups. Well, I'm going to play Chris's move for him. Well, I guess I can't. Well, I want to play the computer's move for him, but I won't do that.
I'm curious as to which spot it's going to go for, the double Hane or extend. I don't think I've ever seen it play the double Hane, to be honest. In all the games we've played against it, I don't think I've ever seen it take the corner.
And then up. Interesting. So part of the benefit of me and Chris working together is that my questions and ideas are way more on the lower level, where the simple man, the modern man, the there's a word that belongs there, can look and go, yeah, that was my question too. No fancy stuff, just so here's white making the wall, and these sorts of moves might come to mind. Let me get in there. But wait a minute. I can simply grow my area as I naturally intrude on his. So very simple. Even though this is a center move, it's kind of like, well, yeah, but this is a center move too. Yeah. Okay. So
this one is the like more, I want to say like older style. This E6, like I think most of the time modern method would be G4. G4 is like the more locally practical one. It does it kind of more forcefully than E6. And E6's follow-up is typically going to be G4 anyway. So, but I still like this move. Making the left side that much harder for white to come in on.
And your thoughts on the negatives of this?
This one I think is also possible, but when you leave a wider gap, it gives more agi for white. So if white does invade the left, it's going to be a bit of an easier invasion for him.
Yeah, makes sense. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Oh, it capped me. Unexpected. But I guess if it wants to go all in for the bottom, it can do that.
As many viewers know, this Joseki white plate on the right, this is a not subtle weakness in the shape. And so it's just very natural to get that peep in. And now check out white. That's a stick. So it's an actual target, not like, oh, black to play and kill. No, but it's like gives ease as the game goes on. Really, that I find a little unexpected. So this is helping white take the bottom, which suggests to me Chris is saying, oh, you want the bottom? Here, take it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to force you to take it. And you can't get that much of it anyway. Stupid computer. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Oh, it's going to do it the aggressive way. Now that was a bit interesting. So I have much cleaner agi now that I have things like the clamp and the peep. Okay.
Real simple here.
Yeah, I'm walking away from the
that's
bottom
a principle.
now. I think this is... You were going to say something? That's a principle.
This principle, I'm a big believer in. White plays here, preparing for, oh, I'm going to mess with you. Oh, I'm going to be all over you. It's like, well, let me pause for a minute, get a couple forcing moves in. Okay. Now I don't want to get messed with. Boom. So that timing, in my mind, is very specific.
Yeah. And also, it's somewhat comfortable for black to play away in the spot because white defended with such a loose move at L4. Like, I have really good agi on the bottom to come back in later.
Yeah. And even if it's just basically in game, it's still really big.
Right. Okay.
I wouldn't mind if you explain something to me. Someone else might get it too. We have this move.
Yep.
And we can see a lot of positives about this. So what's the difference? Why would one make this exchange?
I'm not going to play low. I'm going to play C14 high. And I want to commit white to making some position on the top side here. Just more dynamic play with Q16 later.
Okay. So you're saying this is the move you're after, but first You want white to commit?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the difference between being able to use the Q16's developing move on the top side aggressively versus just like playing a big move like an enclosure or something. I want to sort of keep the tempo.
Okay. So here, not forcing. Well, I can think, oh, A, B, C, D. Heck, I'm going to go over to E. Options everywhere. And you're saying no options for you.
Yep.
I like it. I don't think I've really considered that in this Joseki before.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Okay. I'm glad I asked about that one.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So if you don't play the next move I'm thinking of, I'm going to ask you why not.
Okay. Just slide me control back and I'll play where I'm going.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I need to ask why not. So before I started meeting with you, which was so helpful, I met with Andre, what's his name?
Yeah, Andrei Krivets, 1P from Ukraine.
Yeah. And he was very helpful. I just asked a whole bunch of stupid questions. And he was so patient and answered them all thoroughly. It was very nice. He said, hi, hon. No, he didn't say hi, hon. I said, hi, hon.
Yeah.
He said, in this shape, just play him.
Yeah, invade immediately. Yeah.
Just invade immediately, no matter what. I mean, and I'm like, well, how come? He said, it's so annoying for white.
Yeah, that's
Whatever
true.
white does, it's annoying. So just play it. So why would you go that way?
Just the move that I'm more comfortable with.
Did you have your eggs out? Yeah, room temperature.
It's just the one that I'm more comfortable with. I'm threatening the same move and also expanding my corner. The problem with H17 on this board is that white can ignore it. White doesn't have to answer locally. So if I jump in, white might keep expanding on the top side, approach the upper right corner, and I'm trying to keep white away from that. So at least now, if white tries to bother that area, I can fight it.
I see. Oh, that's a nice perspective. And treat the two groups separately.
Yeah.
And if black does whatever, you've always got the 3/3.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I did not think about that. If I had, I would be going, well, but I don't like that move in this case. Matter of fact, I probably would have put it here.
Yeah, that's also okay, I think. This one is also fine.
But same idea. Oh, I'm so glad I asked that question. Next, something you said just bothered me.
Oh.
It's something Q players say, and when they say it, it is so wrong. When you say it, I know it's right, and maybe it's just a slip of the tongue, the way you said it. You know, I want to extend from my corner. Well, first of all, you don't have the corner in the slightest, and when you're extending, you're not, so you don't have any points, and you're not getting any points.
Correct.
That's what Q players miss. But you're saying, right, semantically, Lance, you're correct.
Yes.
But I'm building an overall base with way more Sente.
Okay. Yeah, it's just developing the stone. Because I could develop the stone with a small Shimari, and it doesn't have much of a future. But at least like with M17, the development's a bit more dynamic. There's chances for fights or some interesting things to happen here. Things I'm not particularly worried about.
To put it bluntly, the upper right is harder now for white than it was a minute ago. Yeah. Good. And for you Q player listeners, did you catch that? When you say, oh, my corner, you actually expect something in area 1. No, it's not your corner. You happen to have a stone there that has no points whatsoever, no base. Oh, I'm extending from my corner. The Q player is just so wrong when they say that. Okay. So
let's see, what will it do?
Here. Okay. Make sure I click resume play.
I'm curious to see what CrazyStone will do.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a lot of options. It can do many different things on this board. Oh. Somehow that was not one of the options I thought of. I think. Looks reasonably attractive. Okay.
Let's see. Black played first, white played last. Okay, so in this position, I'm trying to think about the perspective. Who do I feel is leading? So my perspective, white's entire A1. I'm seeing problems. You got your whole cut at A problem, and that doesn't mean the cut; it means the weakness at A. You got a long knight's move at B that's a problem. There's no way in the world you're going to draw a line between C and D and take a big center. And there's all these, it's just not a fulfilling situation yet. It could get wonderful, but that's somewhat hopeful. Next, the C group, white's ignored. So I'm seeing, I would say that's two things that have gone on where black's like, hey, I like this game. Now we're thinking, okay, for black, what's black missing? I don't see a darn thing.
Yeah.
I don't see a darn thing that black's missing.
Yeah.
So
the game
due to
feels
that,
comfortable.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said the game feels comfortable.
There you go. Black is comfortable. Is black ahead? I could not say black's ahead, but I prefer the black stone, that's for sure. Okay. There we go. Black plays here, black plays here.
I'm assuming it's, well, I mean, it could do anything. It's CrazyStone. And these situations, I'm awfully not, when there's a lot of options like this, I'm usually not reading many different things. I'm usually just kind of, I have a general idea of what the options look like, and I just kind of try to prioritize my own direction of play in these situations.
Okay. So when I saw your move, I was a little concerned because I'm seeing white's desire coming into focus. Like if we were to follow a basic Joseki, I would not have chosen that idea. What I assume your thought is, yeah, I see what you mean, but that's simply not white's area. Is that what you were thinking? Okay.
More or less. Yeah. I mean, I'm comfortable, like with just the style of play I have, I'm comfortable breaking areas like this. Like the right side is not going to be super big. I have like the S8 push, S9.
Right, you got all this stuff going on.
The bottom, I have the weaknesses around O3, J5, J3, H4, all that stuff down there. He still has the weak group on top. I don't have any weak group. And the corner area is going to be worth at least 10 points now, whereas before it wasn't worth anything. So there's actually a cost to white doing this.
Yeah, yeah. So apparently white agrees.
Yeah. Now with the corner being strong like this, it gives the M17 stone a lot of power. The invasion at H17 is now severe.
Yeah.
Because white has lost the ability to switch to the upper right corner, which is one of the ways white would normally dodge the H17 attack.
Yeah. So M17, which I'm not going to mark, used to be a flimsy stone that we could use, clearly. But now it's become a strong stone, something we can fight with. Yeah.
This is a thing I probably would like to touch on. White ignoring the weak group to make the kick, and then black answering white's kick instead of attacking immediately. Because this is something I see a lot of, maybe not so much the Q players. I think the Q players tend to answer everything, but a lot of the lower down players that get very Tanuki happy will, a lot of times they'll see this kick at A and they'll say, oh, I'm just going to ignore it and attack at B and just go full speed ahead. And I think it's a mistake to think that way. Because actually, even though the attack can be severe, if we can imagine something like this, you're still not going to kill every single stone. Like, white can still treat it very lightly, because the A group can still dodge to the B area. And now what you've given white is you've given white access at C, which on its own can be worth upwards of 10 to 15 points. It's actually very, very big to leave that weakness behind. And so I would recommend, if you find yourself in a situation where it's like you can attack or you can answer this A move, your attack better guarantee you at least 20 points of profit if you're going to ignore it. Because if you don't get at least that, then you're going to be losing in the exchange if white gets to make this honey. There you go.
Yeah.
I just think it's important to touch on that.
Yeah. I couldn't, and I don't think viewers could consider, is this worth 20 points? Here, let me count that. Let me judge that compared to, no, that's over our heads. Instead, before, in my mind, I use the principle, before you start going attacking B, take care of your A area.
Yep.
A area is huge. You defend, and now the corner's open, and you took the left. So defense first. Now, you know the term flower go, right?
Yeah.
And for any viewers that don't know it, my understanding is it's a Korean term, and it's an insult. It's like, oh, your go's so pretty. It's just not much to it.
Yeah, it's like the notion that came up around the late 90s, early 2000s, the Japanese go was no longer practical. It looked, the shapes looked very pretty and they were nice aesthetically, but there were much more efficient moves that weren't as pretty that got the job done better.
Yeah. So my style of go and my style of teaching go is all about flower go. Principles. How do I get through this immensely complex situation easily? Well, use a principle. Well, that's stupid. Well, if you're only looking for consistent 85% moves,
right, which is enough to get you to 5 down most of the time.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, hey, I have enough experience now. I'm going to up that to 90% moves.
Right.
I mean, you can go far. I went far on principles.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Boom. Boom.
Now it comes in. Okay, cool.
Okay.
I was wondering
this is a problem.
what it was going to do. Actually, this I'm prepared for.
Let me get resume player. I mean, 2-week groups. Give me a break. So we'll just watch you do it.
Yeah. This is normally, the C17 is considered a bit aggressive by white. Normally white keeps that in reserve for defense when black goes on the offensive against the topside group. But by switching and taking the corner with the invasion now, it's beginning to look more like it's going to become a trade. Like white's going to take the corner and black is going to get a lot on the upper side. It makes my choice of Yoseki in the top right look very efficient.
Yeah. I would say that if A was it's how it used to be, a lonely black stone, I might think this is reasonable for white. But as soon as A has any power, no, not happening, at least in my mind.
This is a really nice sort of advanced concept also. This idea that stones' values are always changing and stones that have already been played can be improved upon. Like a lot of players will play a move and sort of forget the move ever existed. Like they don't really think about it outside of the turn they play it. But like this M17 stone is still putting pressure on the white group, and it is improved by the black corner rather than by itself. And that's going to be here. Yep. Run. Now, this move might look a bit strange. I think a lot of people would probably consider D12 to be the natural continuation and let white live on the left. But for those that think about blocking the center versus blocking the side here, blocking the side at C11 really hurts white's eye space, and also it makes my B6 drop better.
I show me, I can't keep up with that.
I was just saying, a lot of players here, I know because my students do this a lot, they'll prioritize a move like A over B with the idea that they'll just let white live very small and try to get the whole center and then try to make some claim that white's going to be dead, right? I see this a lot at the 2-3 down level. But I was saying there's a lot of benefit to considering the B direction after white has made this exchange in the corner. Because having B6 actually makes it harder for white to play here later.
Right.
So there's not as much of a weakness in that spot.
Okay.
All right, I've given you control back so we can resume. So if it goes this way, I will be at 3, I will be at 4. That should be fine. Just a bit of light reading. Yeah, now black, this is the part of the middle game where it gets, positions like this get scary for white because a lot of white's investment is center focused and white really needs to show the value of that here. Because black is the one currently with the initiative and the 2 weak groups to assault. Just gonna play solid, nothing fancy. Fancy would be like playing the knight's move here and offering a cut and trying to start some elaborate fight where if white tries to fight too hard, one group dies. There's no need to do that. We'll just keep it nice and simple. Okay, that's a bit egregious. That one might need to get cut.
It's awfully weak.
Yeah, it's just a question of is
you can
Hane
tell
the
white's
better?
stretching, trying to find a place on the board to get back in the game.
I think we start here. For players that don't quite understand why I didn't just like snap cross cut or snap Hane cut, which would be the normal shape. When you push at E12, you create a bit of a problem for white. If white ignores it, white dies on the left. And if white blocks, now the cutting Aji is much more severe. So it's a good like sort of in-between forcing move. Also gives me a slightly more interesting direction to cut, in my opinion. So I think at this point, extend is white's only move. I don't think white can afford to connect here.
So something I kind of hate to admit, it's a little embarrassing. I had the Q mentality here. Hey, look at what I'm doing on top. And when you play this way, I'm like, oh, obviously. I wouldn't have seen it, though. I find that so embarrassing. I wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah, well, it's the type of stuff that's very easy to miss if you're not studying these types of fighting shapes a lot, right? But in general, I think it's, I don't know. White's G13, I get why White played it, but I feel like White should have extended here and fought a little bit more. Because like this, I think his left side is just cleanly dead. And if it does manage to live, it looks like it's going to be Ko at best, which is not ideal for his top group, because the top group is essentially a Ko factory for me.
Oh, he responded. I was busy looking at the KGS board, didn't look at the CrazyStone board.
Yeah, this connection is necessary. He needs to play it, but I'm not going to be so gentle. The hope that I guess it would have is that if Black had connected outside, it would be able to use the C16 cut as leverage. But I'm just going to keep its liberty short. Okay, so it's blocking.
That I think you can sacrifice a group and kill things and still be fine. But here, it just makes all the Black situations so much thicker and stronger. Well, now saying that, Black is low on eyes also.
But I have a benefit White doesn't have, and that's that I have one weak group and White has two. So I have a lot of follow-ups against the top side to increase my liberties in my eye space. And for stronger players, these are resources that we know we have the minute we descend to E18. This is part of why that descent is so good. So you can sort of add that to your knowledge base, anybody that's watching. When you make this descent and you go for this fight, part of the reason why the descent works is because you can leverage the 2 stones for more liberties later. Which one is going to be better? Or I can do. Yeah. The Tessage, if White had played D17, would be for Black to take this B18 point.
Go ahead and show us that.
If White had played this one instead, trying to counter-threaten the cut, Black would have responded here against White.
There it is.
And then White is in the Dame Zemari this way.
I was getting there. I was almost there.
Yeah, so this one is the only way for White to go. But some people might have thought about it if their reading is not deep enough, so I wanted to show it.
Appreciate that. So I'm hoping White plays B19 because I want to see how you handle
that. If not, it can play its move, and then you can rewind one step.
Okay, it played its move. Let's play this out, then we'll go back to its move.
Okay, Rav3n should be the one that descend. Okay.
Just no way, huh?
Yeah, no, it seems like it's going to be just barely losing.
Yeah.
Make sure I didn't misread anything here. Actually, I might not even need to answer this one locally.
Yeah, you got the two liberties at E15, D15.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have enough liberties. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I have enough at that point to even just Tanuki one time.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And white played here.
Ah, white gave up on it. It's smart that white's not trying to drag it out because white can leave it for squeezing Aji later.
This is a pretty big kill. Do you think there's a chance for white here?
Probably not, unless the bottom center becomes like 50 points cleanly, meaning 50 points where I don't get any profit at all as compensation. Then maybe they can do that, but without that, I think it's just behind on points.
We'll just give it a little bit of time here.
Yeah, so taking the liberty. Just kill that now.
So if white, to me, the only reason the game's worth continuing is how white's going to handle the center and how you're going to not let them have much.
Yeah, it's like the second half, right? Winning the one game is the hard part. So we've finished the first step, which is get ahead. But now the second step is the one that really needs to be worked on. Okay, so it finally comes back to the Hane. I was wondering when we'd see it. For those that would consider different shapes here, the Hane is mostly because even though there's like Aji with G11 cut later, I'm not actually worried about the one stone getting cut off. I just need to naturally move towards the bottom center. White's kind of helping me to do that. Even with this double Hane, white can get some more stuff towards the top side, but it's not nearly big enough.
Yeah, we don't care about the top side, yeah.
So I'm just going to walk myself down. And so at this point, I'm sort of looking ahead. I'll answer locally as long as I need to answer locally. But I'm actually not even really thinking about how I'm going to answer these moves it's playing now. I'm more so thinking about what my method for breaking the bottom is actually going to be. And now is the point where I have to sort of count and make decisions and do some small calculation with some vital points. I still don't see any reason not to answer. It's content to just let me walk down the board. But the push at P13 isn't Sente. For him, it is very much Sente for me. So I'm sure there's some marginal improvement for white playing this way, but I'm not exactly certain it's enough to help. All right. So I'll start by asking a question. I'm always a big advocate of asking questions first. Oh, it actually answered. Okay, so we got that in Sente. That's always nice.
Okay, so at this point, white has nothing.
Yeah, white's just getting walked through.
Yeah.
But it's hard for white to try to do anything else because black doesn't really have any weaknesses that are tangible enough to make something happen.
Okay. Well, let's call it
here?
quits there. I mean, there's no white simply has no method of getting back in the game. Let me consider high point. I like this combination. Works really well with the 2/4/4s. Let white do something on the left, take the 3/3. Very nice. This is pretty much a known less than great shape. And we've mentioned this before, but the idea is, come on, our cut here is very meaningful because the bottom two white stones are quite weak.
Right.
So the cut is quite meaningful. Now, if we look at the sister Joseki, and now, well, if white continues, the peep isn't half as powerful. On top of which, white might not answer this because black's turn doesn't have very much power to it by itself.
Right.
Okay.
It's always good to touch back on that, though, I think, because if one thing can be for certain, your viewers watching this will probably never play R5 again unless they're going to double Hane and take the corner.
Right.
Like, that's really the only time I advocate for it. It's very, very seldom that the R5 Hane wall is going to be better than the Q5 Hane wall or the Q5 Nobi wall.
Yeah.
You know, so if we're comparing apples to apples, which wall is better, you should always play the better wall. It's just better.
Yeah. This was nice. Enter in as we build. Nice. And here, the timing here, the peep and force it.
Yeah. So this is something that I've learned from another pro. I forget which one. But the general idea is like when black is playing P5, locally in the shape, white should be descending to Q2. Because the Q2 descent is going to be sente against the corner, black's going to have to answer. So when white doesn't, the Hane connect is actually profit for black. Small, but it's a reverse profit for black, and it's usually in sente. So even though white is getting thick, it's actually not inefficient because black peeped. So if we look at the regular defense at 0-3, which is the one I expected the bot to play, the Q5 stone is not necessary in this shape.
Right.
So that becomes a positive exchange for black, and therefore it's actually not so bad for black to go for Hane connect in this position.
Yeah.
Compared to
show that. Taking off Q5. And if black says, aha, I have you now. Really?
Yeah, white can just 0-4.
An awful lot of white stones.
Yeah, white just 0-4s and then black is running.
Yeah.
It's like if we compare it to the original Joseki, the one we used to play 10, 15 years ago, without this peep exchange for either player, it's worse for black locally because white got thickness and there's no more Aji at the cut.
Right.
But here, because white connected at Q5, Q2 is actually locally a punishment. It's an improvement to the normal Joseki. So.
And what's your move of white plays here?
In that case, I would have played H4. I would have asked one more time.
Interesting. And then?
And then I would have played Q10 or D10.
D10. I see. I'm not good at that. Putting in a question and then playing away. Bye. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know, for me, the habit of, oh, I played Q4, H4, now I need to somehow continue.
Yeah.
Or else what did I do that for? But yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah. So that was that. You know, hopefully people will find that instructive.
This is something I learned today. This is a great idea. White, black. I like it because of what it's producing there. Yeah, get thick. White, defend first. And
This is really where white starts. If the game was even before, I feel like this is where the game begins to deteriorate.
yeah,
This is too aggressive. That's just really what it boils down to. People don't realize it, but in this specific top side formation, where white has the low base, black is attacking white's low base directly,
yeah,
and black has the high stone at d14, like your invasion is for defense of the top group or switching. You're going to sacrifice the top group.
yeah,
But you're usually doing that after black has invested the second stone. So right now, black has invested M17. That's the first stage of the investment. White played away. We consider that a trade. You don't want to trade after that as white until black has made the next investment. So it's like you're always following so that you can come out even instead of a move behind, usually.
okay. That was a little much for me. I got at least half of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from here, it's just pretty much
Too much for white.
too much. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, Chris, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Viewers, I
thanks.
hope you got as much out of that as I did. I love watching Chris do this. Yeah.
It's fun to
Okay,
play.
thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye.